Hey, welcome to In My Head. We're on episode 9 of season 3, and I'm loving this season so far. Hey, Ben.
Yeah?
You loving the season so far?
I'm loving it. This has
I'm
been so
loving it
much
too.
fun.
This has been amazing.
Yeah, last time was really exciting. I'm really excited for today. It's just getting more and more exciting every time we do it.
We have not one, but 2 special guests today.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In fact, Ben, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go back to me.
Okay.
And you see this little controller right here, Ben?
I see it.
I have new technology.
You have new technology. What does it do?
So you're going to take the mobile camera there.
Okay.
And you're going to go to Diagon Alley.
I thought we said we were going to show this until next week.
No, we're showing it now.
But
I'm
it's
excited.
not ready yet.
But I got my controller. It's not all the way ready yet, but
Okay.
that's called progression.
Okay.
So I added lights to one of my Lego sets, and we're gonna go to the mobile camera now. Check it out. Look at this. There's lights. Now watch. I'll turn them off, and I'll turn. They're not. It's not working.
Well, they're on right now.
I think you're blocking the sensor.
Wow.
Wow. Complete fail. But that's the lights. And you know what, Ben? Back to me.
Well, they look
That
so cool. Look
that
at the blinking light in
I
there.
feel like I just let you guys down. I feel like you wanted a show and you didn't get a show. You got a controller that wasn't working.
Well, we should have waited till next week.
That's called a soft launch. And I wanted
That was the beta. Come back.
I wanted a beta of my Lego light set. Okay, before we waste any more of your time, once again, I know if you're on Twitch is what all the new kids are using these days, right, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Twitch TV.
In fact, check it out, twitch.tv/Muscoma_Joe. So all you gamer guys out there and gamer gals can follow us on Twitch.
That's right. Also, Courtney McGinnis is here, and she says hello.
Oh,
She-
hello.
lol. She says lol.
She's at the mall?
No.
Oh, she's lolling.
Yes.
Oh, there she is, lolling. All right, well, what does lol mean?
What?
Living out loud. That's
There's
what
no.
it means.
Yeah, you're being funny.
That's what it means.
Hey,
All right.
what is all
Hey,
this
Ben, let's just
lingo?
get right into it. We have a really good topic today, some really great special guests, and I want to get to them, but we have some business to take care of.
Yes, sir.
Guess what it is, Ben?
What is the business?
It's time to launch our new book. All right, our brand new book is called Creating Theatrical Magic. And no, he's not smoking. We do not condone smoking. It's a terrible, terrible thing to do. But Max Howard, Creating Theatrical Magic, there's he and his wife on the back screen. Now, I picked this book up at CAX, which is a Kid Performers Conference. And this is one of the most incredible books on performance on stage with an effect that you can pick up. In the back is a DVD. Now, the great thing about this book is actually designed, and I think I just lost my place. This book is actually designed to watch the DVD first in its entirety, and then go back and read the book with the DVD on pause. So you want to watch the DVD with this book. And so I want to read just a quick excerpt. This thing is packed, Ben.
Yeah. Is this the book that changed how you really did magic on stage?
Yes. Now this book is heavy. There is some concepts in here that are going to change the way that you perform in front of your kids. And I say perform, I don't mean not being real, but when you're in character or when you're trying to do something, you can come across as cheesy, like real quick. And another thing, like magic tricks are only tricks, but it says creating theatrical magic because when you perform the trick, you do a trick, yes, and you blow people's minds with it, or you illustrate with it for, like, say, your Bible message. But when you perform with the trick, that's when it melts people's minds.
Yes.
So I want to read you this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I understand that it's not usual for the magician to come before his audience at the beginning of his performance and promise to tell them how all the magic is done, but that is my intention. To begin, I offer you a precise definition of magic. Magic is the art of transformation by act of conscious will. This definition of magic has both validity and poetic truth and was devised expressly for this play. It provides the needed rationalization, the metaphorical premise on which to base the theme and action of our play. What is more, this definition also suggests that the processes of the theater and of magic are the same, as indeed they are. Magic is essentially theater.
Sure. And also, just to throw this out there, there's no insinuation of evil through any of this stuff.
We're not
It's
talking
all
about
just
spiritualism and magic and all that stuff. My definition of magic is something that you simply can't take your eyes off of, that you can't understand.
It tickles your brain.
It tickles your brain. But it's not just a trick, because you can do a card trick, right? Like a card trick, right? Like, I can do a card trick like that.
Oh, that's my card.
But if it's just a trick, then there's no. But if you perform and you tell a story and you use a trick, that's when people's minds just go.
Absolutely. It's pretty cool. I love it. Your tricks, you still to this day, you don't tell me how you do half your stuff.
That's on purpose, because magic.
It's crazy.
And by the way, this book, you need to probably go on Amazon and find it, or somewhere, because these books are not being printed anymore. So if you do yourself a favor, if you're a kids pastor, go out and find this book. Be willing to pay a little heftier price, but it has information that will melt your mind.
Wow, thanks, Frank.
Can you make Ben go away? I just did. You see that, Ben? I have friends in high places. Don't mess with me. All right. Okay, guys, we're gonna move on to a brand new segment, but first I need to show you guys a really cool website. Our website today is Download Youth Ministry.
This has
otherwise known as DYM.
Yes, and we featured this website before, but we should show it again.
We have to do it again.
Yeah, because of how many times have we used this?
We use it all the time.
Yeah.
So like when I'm getting ready for Easter, for instance, shop all Easter resources. I get an annual membership, which gives me $25 in credit every single month. But see, there's all kinds of stuff in here, from lesson plans to games. You want to do the Would You Rather Easter edition. Now, look, are these the most mind-blowing games? No, but you want a game in a pinch. You want to do something because you don't have any time to plan, which is most of us kids pastors. Then check this out. Would you rather, Ben, have a fluffy bunny tail for the whole month, or have big bunny ears for a whole month?
Now, when they say bunny ears, I mean, are my ears just large, or are they like bunny ears?
Like actual bunny ears.
What was the other one?
A fluffy bunny tail for a month.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I feel like with the fluffy bunny tail, you can just
I would do fluffy bunny tail.
You just wear large oversized shirt.
I would just cut a hole in my pants to put the bunny tail out of.
Yeah, that would be terrible. That's a bad idea. Also, Frank says you're welcome. Is he the person that showed you DYM?
He is. Frank, thank you for that resource. He turned me onto it, but it was my idea. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, we're going to play a game, Ben, and I did not, those of you that are watching, I did not tell Ben this game came from DYM. But we're going to play a little game called Off the Cuff. Okay, Ben, here's how this is going to work.
Okay.
I believe I have it hooked up to the camera is going to go onto the screen. Okay. But basically, you're going to go first. I'm going to give you a topic, and you have 60 seconds to talk nonstop about this topic.
Okay.
You have 2 seconds, Ben.
Yep.
To look at the thing, and it's going to literally start talking.
Okay.
And at the end of it, we all have had to have learned something.
Okay.
All of you people that are in kids ministry, if you know what it's like to run out of time, or suddenly have to plan a lesson and you have no time, it's called, the scripture says, be ready in season and out of season.
Okay.
Or something like that. Maybe paraphrase that.
Okay.
A bit. But it's called Off the Cuff. You need to be able to teach a spiritual truth using this topic. Are you ready, Ben?
I'm ready.
Okay, Ben. I hope this works. I don't know if I set it up right, but
we'll see.
Here we go. It's not set up right. So let's just go back to this. Okay, Ben, you have 60 seconds. I'm timing you. On your mark, get set, go.
At a school cafeteria, tater tots are one of the staples of schools all across the nation. I'm sure you remember those delicious tater tots, probably microwaved or put in an oven somewhere so many kids can consume it. Did you know that when Jesus was, he fed that many lots of people using bread and stuff. So he used that bread and stuff and gave it to many people. The same way, kids may be eating tater tots a lot, and those tater tots, they're very good for you. They're good for you sometimes, only if you have them in, like, little doses. So it's just like the Bible and stuff, because them tater tots, they're good for your soul and also your spirit, and people eat them a lot.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Wow. Did you know that tater tots are the same thing as French fries, except for they're just thicker and smaller? That's crazy. It's not something you'd expect, right? But it's a new way to prepare it. Is that 20 seconds up? I sure hope it is.
10 seconds.
10. Oh boy. Yeah, tater tots. What do you think about tater tots? Yeah. That's all we got today, folks.
You know what, Ben? There's a big difference between being a rook in kids ministry and being a veteran.
Maybe more than 2 seconds.
It's my turn to go now. It's my turn to go off the cuff, and I promise you, and all 2 viewers, I didn't. Kathy Farrington. Hey, Pastor Kathy. She's being entertained. This makes me smile. And hi, Ben.
Oh, hello.
Pastor Frank says go away, and Pastor Kathy says hi.
Well, I feel welcomed by Pastor Kathy.
All right, so now we're going to take a look at. I'm going to do this now. It's called Off the Cuff.
Oh, good luck.
And I have to here. Let's see.
Wait, did you see it ahead of time?
No, I vaguely did, but I promise you, I didn't do any preparation.
Okay, good.
All right, let's see what my title is.
Oh, come on! You just did this.
Boys and girls, give me some epic music, Ben, in the background.
Oh, yep.
Boys and girls, have you ever been to the dentist? Because when you go to the dentist, a lot of times you're afraid. Why are you afraid about going to the dentist? Because maybe it's the shot that they give you in your gums, which ultimately it makes you not feel any pain. But that not feeling pain part is only temporary. Because when you're done going to the dentist, that pain starts coming back in. There's some people that don't even get shots when they go to the dentist. And that's crazy. Like Gabe Hinkle, for example, he says he doesn't get pain shots when he goes to the dentist. But you know what? You have to go through a little bit of pain sometimes in order to fix a problem in your life. And that is why God doesn't always keep us from experiencing pain. Because he knows ultimately we're going to be able to go farther, laugh longer, run faster. We're going to be able to do more for the kingdom of God by going through a little bit of pain now so that we can not have pain later, but help other people that are also going through pain. Boom. Ecclesiastes, Colossians.
Oh, man, they're not thrilled. Sorry. Oh, jeez. Wow. I'm just kidding.
I
Okay.
think I just schooled you because I did just shout the word tater tots 20 times.
Tater tots. All right. I'm going to teach a lesson about tater tots. That's
Before we get to our special guest, we have an oldie but a goldie. This was produced at a ski park. It's a part of our Guaranteed to Learn series. And Ben, you are actually in it.
I'm in this one.
You are in this one. Let's see if you can remember this. Here we go. Today's Vault video.
Okay.
Learn anything, we would just go skiing as fast as we could on anything. And so now you actually have to learn things in the clinics.
So I'm still keeping my back leg bent, but after I lean over a little bit, if I can push a little bit and extend that leg some, that's going to actually give you a real press. You're going to really get the board up off the snow.
All right, so VAC is the way that we get information when as it relates to snow sports, okay? VAC.
Marvin Vaughn, go ahead.
Hey, you big jerk!
Hey guys, where's Arlie?
Hey, guys! Up here!
Where?
How do I get down from here?
Jump, jump, jump! Yes! Jump, Jess!
What?
Jump, jump, jump! No, don't jump! Jump, jump,
Shut up!
jump!
Shut up, Chad!
It's Arlie.
All right,
I
Ben,
remember that.
do you remember this?
I do.
You were actually the voice of that little segment. It's Arlie. I just
think-
recorded your voice and then laid it over like 3 times.
Yeah, I think I was in the 4th grade. I remember that. But you know what's funny about that? The whole story of when you made those videos is crazy to me. I just love
that was
those
a
so
fun
much.
thing we did, and actually led to some of the things that we produce for Kids Church. I know that has nothing to do with anything spiritual, but that was funny. That was your voice
But,
there.
I mean, it did have something to do with spiritual. I mean, that was a huge part of why we came to Sacramento, if you remember that.
You know what, Ben? That was called Off the Cuff right there.
Oh, yeah, see,
Yeah.
I can do it sometimes. Just not about tater tots.
Right. All right, so that was fun. We're going to get to our interview now. We're interviewing a kids pastor from right here in this region, from Harvest Church, Elk Grove. And I have to say there's a fun, like what do they call it, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon separation kind of thing.
Sure.
So Harvest Church, Elk Grove was founded or started by Pastor Scott Hagen.
Right.
Pastor Scott Hagen went to Minnesota, came back, founded Real Life Church in Natomas, and you said it, that ski park video is what ultimately, after that, led us to coming to Sacramento, and I got a job at Real Life Church, Sacramento, Natomas, under Pastor Scott Hagen. Well, then Pastor Scott Hagen went on to teach. When he left Harvest, ultimately there was a kids pastor that started there under Pastor Perry, who preceded Pastor Scott Hagen.
Right.
I then went from Real Life Church in Natomas to Destiny Christian Church, where I am very happy. In case Pastor Greg's watching, very happy, and you are an awesome pastor. But Pastor Scott Hagen founded Real Life Church, founded Harvest Church, and we have the absolute honor of interviewing Pastor Cathy Pizarro from Harvest Church, Elk Grove. Welcome, Pastor Cathy.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Pastor Cathy.
I'm happy. I'm excited.
Yay. Pastor Cathy, what is your name?
My name is Cathy Pizarro.
Do you know that do you ever do that to kids? Like when you say like, hey, Billy, what's your name? They always get obstinate. They go, Billy, you know? I don't know if you ever do that. Maybe that's just me.
I've done it a couple times. Trust me.
Good. You know, all those little things you do for kids.
I told you your name.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to know, like, how long have you been in kids ministry?
So I, kind of a little backstory. My husband and I used to be in another organization where he was the youth director for California and Hawaii.
Okay.
And he started doing youth camp for about 300 students. And these students started growing up, having kids, and they brought their kids to camp, and we needed something for their kids to do. Well, I started doing kids camp at the same time while their parents were either, being a counselor or helping them with the youth. And so that's just how it started. I've always had a passion for the kids, and they're just so fun. They're fun. They're like sponges.
They are fun. How long you been kids pastoring again? About working with kids, would you say?
I've been working with kids probably about the last almost 20 years, maybe.
Ooh, you're a veteran.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time.
What would you say is, you've been in kids ministry for a while like I have, and it's funny because the first year Pastor Cathy is not year 20 Pastor Cathy, right? So what would you say, and this is a little off the cuff, but what would you say is the biggest thing that you've like grown in as a kids pastor from year one to say now?
Man,
I'll put you on the spot. That's a huge thing. Yeah.
I know. That's like a huge thing. I think now, before it was, when I first started in kids ministry, I was a little like really hesitant, not sure how to reach these kids, not sure what I was doing. I would say through all these years and the Pastor Cathy now that I am really excited to be where I'm at. Like literally just being able to grow and to see these kids and to disciple them. It's a different type of discipleship now, I think. My feeling is, and I've been doing it for a long time, so I've seen these kids grow up and move along in, getting older. I would say really, truly, the difference that I see from back the Pastor Cathy then and the Pastor Cathy now is just the way that I am discipling. Truly. It's really different.
So what would you say is different about now versus then? I know it's a huge question that covers 1,000 miles, but what would you say is like one of the things that stands out to you as the difference between discipling kids now versus then?
Then I felt more of like, okay, I need to find things to do because I'm kind of quote unquote babysitting you, kind of like watching, kind of still trying to figure out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so just trying to like figure that out. Whereas now I am truly discipling you so that you can get your encounter with Jesus.
Yes.
Truly discipling you so that you can grow closer to Jesus. And as I've grown through the years, not just in my own faith and in my own way and just how I've done things through children's ministry, that's a big thing for me. Because now it's like, okay, I'm more intentional. Not to say I wasn't before, but I was just starting.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was just starting.
Yeah.
But now I'm more intentional. I'm more intentional. I with this generation that's coming up, we have to be. What I did last year to what I'm doing now, completely different.
Yeah. Wow. You know, I don't. I think in the same way when I started, I saw kids as kids. Like I
Hmm.
almost like I didn't see it as childcare. I hated when people referred to children's ministries as more or less babysitting, but I didn't. I think I saw children as children, and I think now, like 28 years some later, I see them as children of God. I see them as people, as souls that have intelligence, and we don't need to
Yeah.
talk down to them, and I don't need to treat them as if they're a different like species than say adults are, right? Because I feel the same way. I feel like I can talk real with a kid, and maybe I need to say it in a way that they understand. But
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you that that has shifted, and I think that's shifted with me too. Is that I don't
Hmm.
like I almost speak to them as if they're adults. You know, it's a weird
Yeah.
thing to like grab onto. Um,
Yeah.
well, when it comes to your discipling kids, you said that you went through some transformation. What is your vision for kids ministry? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you don't have say a corporate vision or whatever, but what is part of your vision for kids ministry and how you do kids ministry now?
My vision for kids ministry is to help them connect with God, truly help them connect with God through discipleship, to have the God encounters. Because as adults, we have God encounters, and I believe kids truly have to have God encounters in their own way. My vision also is for kids to want to know who Jesus is, not just to come on Sunday and hang out or do play games or have a little worship and a little. I want them when they leave from children's ministry, I want them to be able to articulate to their parents what exactly they learned.
Yeah,
Because when they can tell their parents, you know it's going to stick. You know it's going to stay there. They're not going to forget
right. I do
it.
get
Yeah.
every now and then you get like because parents will tell me they ask what they learned today, and the kids go, I don't know. And it's like I think
Yeah.
that it's like that as a kids pastor, I go, no, there was a
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah.
you know,
I tell my kids all the time, if when Pastor Perry was here before he retired, I'm like, if Pastor Perry were to walk through these doors right now,
mm,
can you tell him what I've discipled you, what I've taught you?
that's good.
And that's a big thing. Even with Pastor John now, I'm like, Pastor John hasn't. He's still, trying to get his feet grounded and trying to get used to everything here and
Yeah,
coming through the ministries. But I'm like, if Pastor John and Pastor Elizabeth were to walk through this door right now, can you tell them what we just talked about?
yeah,
Can you tell them, articulate to them what I just shared with you, what you learned from the Bible?
yeah. That's good. I there's a friend of mine that lives in Texas, Diane Huber. Do you know who Pastor Diane is? She used to be in our
I'm not
district a few
familiar
years
with it.
ago. She used to be in our district a few years ago, but she said something one time at a kids ministry. This is back when Nikki Rogers was our director,
Mm.
and
Yep.
God bless her. She's awesome.
Yes.
But
She is awesome.
yeah, yeah. Diane Huber said she likes to pretend that there's a live camera in the back of the room shooting like obviously showing everything that we do in kids church, and there's families that are watching. Like not just parents but also kids, and can everyone that's watching learn something from what we're doing for the kids at kids church? And I thought, wow, that's a huge accountability thing, like I mean not saying accountability in a bad way, but like that's a pressure cooker, like
Yeah.
I always imagine what would happen if Pastor Greg walked through the door. Would he like go, you know what, you're fired?
Yeah.
It's like the stuff we do
Yeah.
in kids church obviously is aimed at kids and would not work in an adult context,
Yeah.
but it's true because we are also following pastor's vision, that our shepherd that has a vision as well. Oh, what just happened there? Am I good?
Yeah, we're all good. We're chilling.
This computer just oh
I
I
didn't do
just
anything.
okay, everything's good still. I lost my
All good?
visual computer because we didn't plug it in. There's always technical glitches, but that's okay. We're going to move on. You can still see me and hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So speaking of, you said Pastor Perry and you said Pastor John, you guys have went through some transformation yourself as a church.
Yeah.
So what transformation have you guys gone through?
Pastor Perry retired here after serving, being the lead pastor of this church for 25 years. He retired last July.
Wow.
And then, amazing. He is
Yeah.
such an awesome man of God.
Yeah.
Great pastor. I loved being under his leadership and part of the team here when he was on staff, and it's just amazing. He's just great. And then back in November 2022, the membership voted to have Pastor John Smith out of New Orleans. New Orleans. I'm not saying that right. If he's watching this, he's probably going to correct me later. But okay.
Nolans. Maybe it's
New Orleans,
not Nolans. Nolans.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that right there. So they came out of House of Prayer out in Louisiana, and so him and his wife, Pastor Elizabeth Garcia Smith, are now the senior pastors. And they first Sunday here was actually Christmas.
Oh wow!
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to Pastor Perry. One thing I know about Pastor Perry was that and this is probably an exaggeration, but if you needed something as a church ministry, like, and I'm saying outside of Harvest, if you were a church who needed something, or you were a missionary, or there was some kind of missional project, Pastor Perry always found a way to not just fund it and resource it, but he went above and beyond, like gave way more than expected or even asked. Is that a true thing of Pastor Perry?
That is a true statement. The heart of Harvest Church is missions, locally within the community and globally. So that is a big thing. If someone here in Elk Grove, if there was an organization here in Elk Grove and that wanted to see if maybe Harvest could invest in that or help them somehow, Pastor Perry would definitely find a way to try and help, even if it's just a little bit, or even just us giving our time to help maybe do something, build something, or but he would do that. That is his heart. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Pastor Perry had a vision. Now let's go back a little bit, and just so you know, children's pastors, at least I hope children's pastors watch this, and I believe that a lot of kids pastors go through senior leadership change like you have. And so you've been serving at that church for a little while. You were serving under Pastor Perry. Let's talk for a second about the vision that you followed under Pastor Perry and how you had to adapt it to your vision for kids ministry, or how it affected your vision for kids ministry.
Pastor Perry's vision was loving God, loving others, living transformed lives. Okay. And so that was a big thing here. And it wasn't hard to get on that vision that Pastor Perry had, for sure, because God has called us to love others. God has called us to love him. He's called us to love, just everybody in our community. So that definitely wasn't that hard to get under Pastor Perry's vision. He made it so that we were able to take our ministries, everybody's ministry here at Harvest Church, and align it with his vision. So with children's, that's what we did. I know it's hard to love your sibling maybe, but God has called us to love them, and we got to do it. It's hard maybe somebody's not treating you right in school. God has still called us to love them no matter what. So it was something that we all were in tune with. And it was great. Yeah.
Well, did you ever have to modify your vision? Like, because sometimes, and especially as I have this big vision. I always have these creative ideas. Do you ever have to stop and self-check, or did you ever have to stop and self-check with Pastor Perry and say, hey, I want to do this, or this is on my heart to do? And what was that like? Did you have to get his permission? Did you check in with him? What was your process with Pastor Perry?
I always checked in with Pastor Perry. If there was something that God was pressing on my heart to try or to do, I always checked it with him. Always asked, because I never wanted to be outside of his vision, outside of what he saw for Harvest Church. Always wanted to be in tune with that. So if I had an idea, I'd run it by him. I'd have all my facts, all my ducks in a row, make sure that I brought everything to the table so that he saw the big picture. And then from there, he would say, okay, well, let's try it. Or, what, can we adjust it a little bit? Maybe let's try this way. Or maybe that's not the right time. So Pastor Perry was very open to having conversations and talking with the different ministries here, even children's ministries, and hearing where our heart, where God was taking us, where God wanted us to go. He was very open to that.
That's good. What did you ever have a time when, and I know this is, I don't think you need to be specific, but I know at times, because we're all different people, did you ever have a time where it was difficult to adapt something that you felt in your heart to do? Or what advice can you give to, and maybe you've never personally experienced it, but what advice can you give to people that are in kids ministry that maybe their vision differs from that of their pastor?
Ooh, you're gonna go there. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk more recent. Okay, I'm gonna talk more
Okay.
recent.
Okay.
This. So, wow. Okay. I my my desire for these kids is to have their encounter with Jesus. Okay,
Yes.
that's my desire. That's always been my desire. That's always, and I knew how to get there. Okay, I knew how to get there. I knew how to disciple them in that. How to bring in how to bring in the worship. How to bring in prayer and all that with the kids.
Yeah.
But sometimes I felt like, okay, well, this is not what the adults are doing. This is not. I don't ever want to. I didn't want to ever step outside of that line if they weren't doing what I was doing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Um. So it was like it was kind of like, okay, do I try it? Do I not try it? I didn't. I didn't try it in the beginning, and then when new leadership came in, Pastor John came in, and we grabbed onto his vision. We grabbed onto um, knowing who Jesus truly is, being getting our encounters, diving into our encounters, spending time in His presence, and really just all out for Jesus. It was like, okay, I can get on this. This is what I've been wanting to do. This is what I've been asking God for. How can we do this? And so I can honestly say that since Pastor John has been on board, things have shifted in children's ministries.
Mm.
It's been shifted. We've taken times of worship. What we've done is we've spent more time in worship. We've selected songs, like 5 or 6 songs that we will do for the month, and we will rotate those songs so that these kids learn those songs.
Mm.
Because my thing is when you learn the songs, then you can then you can truly worship. It's when they're learning the new songs that this is just for me, okay? I'm not talking about anybody else, but just what we do here.
Yeah.
What I found is that when we're bringing in new songs all the time, the kids don't get enough time to know the song and then
Right.
go
Right.
into worship.
Right.
Where now my kids are like, okay, we every Sunday, okay, guys, it's time to activate your worship. We're going to activate your worship. We're going to press in. We're going to ask God to meet you where you're at. We're going to ask for our encounter. And as these weeks have come by, these kids are falling out, crying, worshiping
Mm.
like I've never seen them worship before. And it's like, okay, okay, God, you're really going to do this, and it's going to. I'm amazed. And I've been at Harvest Church for the 8 years this year, and things have evolved, things have changed, but this right now, I believe is where we need to go. Like I
Awesome.
said, I can't speak for all the churches, but this is where we need to go.
Well, I can speak for one of the churches, Kiana Oliver, who was on last week. Hi, Kiana. She said, love that. Going to try that. Songs for the month. And I have to tell you, I'm not actively involved now. I've set direction for the worship, team, but we often get kind of stale in the same songs we keep playing because we know the kids know the motions and all that stuff. But I love that songs of the month, especially when they're connected to something that, say, pastor has put into motion, like a theme or something. That's awesome. Now, going back to the transition, you guys just had how long has the new pastor been in place?
Pastor John has been here since so January. Let's just say January,
Okay,
because he
January.
came in and he officially started January. Yeah.
So he just spoke at one of our Next Gen Connects at the district
Yeah.
office, and I didn't realize at first he was the new pastor, and I was blown away by his humility, by his love for people, and I'm like, that's awesome, because you guys had an awesome pastor, and now you have another amazing, awesome pastor. But when that transition was happening, because this happens in a lot of churches, as a kids pastor, someone on staff, were you nervous at all? Like this new pastor coming in, is it going to be the same? Are you going to, like I know how I've thought about this a lot. When I got the job at Destiny Christian Church under Pastor Greg Farrington, one of the things that we talked about in the interview was micromanaging. And
Mhm.
I told him, I said, and I was honest with him. I said, if I served under a pastor that micromanaged every little detail of my life, I think I would feel the walls close in and I would feel like choked and I would just feel like making an exit. Like just me personally, that's how I'd feel. So that nervousness was there going, oh man, I had it good under Pastor Scott. You know, Pastor Scott was awesome, but you know, and then it turns out Pastor Greg is awesome. But did you have any of that nervous? Like, can you talk about like the nervousness feeling or uh, some of those emotions that went with this?
Oh my gosh, there was so many emotions because one, Pastor Perry was telling us that he was retiring, so we're like, oh my goodness, now he's actually going to leave, you know? So we're like, okay, what's going to happen? So a lot of us here, it was a question of like, okay, well, what's next? What's to come? What are we going to do? It's the unknown. We didn't
Mm,
know what was going to happen. We didn't know who this new pastor was coming in. We believed in our committee that they were going to be directed to, you know, God was going to show them who the new pastor is. They were going to spend time interviewing, spend time getting to know this person, which I believe our committee did an amazing job selecting Pastor John. But it was really the unknown. There were days where I was sitting in my office and I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to be here when the new pastor comes on board. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
and that's nothing bad, but it was like okay, maybe he might not want me. Maybe he wants somebody else. You know what I mean? So it was
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
what am I going to do? And Pastor Gary, who's our executive pastor here, he was like, okay, you need to not do that. You need to, he was like, you're not going anywhere. And I was like, yeah, but he goes, no, 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 no. So the thought of the change, and I literally was like, okay, well, if I am not going to be here, then what am I going to do after this? Where am I going to go?
Right,
Like,
right.
I've been doing this for so long,
Yeah.
So it's not knowing. It was also not knowing if can I talk to him like the way I talked to Pastor Perry.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know.
The relational factor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is he going to be approachable? Is he going to walk alongside of me? Is he going to want to just tell me how to teach? Like, those were all the questions that were going through my head.
yeah.
And yeah, that was crazy.
I remember when I was when Pastor Scott made his announcement that he's moving to become the North Central president, and the committee started searching for pastors. They ultimately landed on Dean DeGuara, which I think he is such a refreshing voice of love in
Oh,
the community of
he's
Sacramento.
amazing.
Dean DeGuara is awesome, and I remember sitting with having lunch with Pastor Dean and telling Pastor Dean. Pastor Dean, if you'll have me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving the church. I'm here. I'm here, Pastor. I'm here. And it wasn't like 2 weeks later I had that God opened the doors to Destiny and God moved me to Destiny. And I was like this.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Pastor Dean, remember when I said that? I mean, that was
Well,
like I still feel like I owe that man. You know, I owe him something. But there's a lot of emotions involved because you're looking at this is your job, it's your family, you know, and it's your kids, you know,
yeah.
and I firmly believe that when God begins to close a door, you feel it in your heart. Before anything else, you
Mhm.
start feeling like not that things are dead, but that things are like flavorless or like there's a shift happening, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but you know, obviously, you have your heart for kids ministry, Pastor Cathy. I love your perspective that kids are to be discipled and they're to have an encounter with Jesus, and I
Yeah.
love that your new pastor does that. Uh,
Yes.
so let me go in a little bit opposite direction. We're coming to the close here, but
Okay.
there are some kids pastors, and I'm not thinking of anyone in particular. I just know that they're out there that do
Okay.
not serve under leadership with integrity, or even leadership that is focused on the whole. There's leaders out there that focus on their own agenda or their own mission, and they're very it's very hard on some of these external ministries. So what advice can you give to somebody who's God has in a church serving kids, but maybe their leadership is not the best, or it's really hard to serve, and maybe they're feeling discouraged because they're just not valued or whatever? What advice can you give to someone who's in that position?
I I thought I lost you for a second. You went blank. I would say really talk to your pastor. I think it's important that you have a conversation with your pastor, your lead pastor.
Even if it's a hard
Um,
one?
even if it's a hard one,
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing: if your pastor is open to receiving, even if it's like the hard conversations, it'll be okay. It's going to be hard for you either way, but I think that talking with your pastor is a good thing. Seeking counsel, finding out from other kidmin leaders, um, talking to Shar, and you, Sean, talking to you, just trying to see how to navigate through that. It's not I don't know, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and you definitely don't want to go outside of what your lead pastor is doing. And that's why I encourage that conversation. We all have hard conversations sometimes with our kids' parents because their kid did something or something happened or who knows. But God has placed us in this position to really disciple our kids, and
Amen.
we want to have open conversations.
Yes.
And that includes having an open conversation with your pastor, your lead pastor, no matter how hard.
Yeah.
No matter how hard. I can't tell you how many times I'm so nervous to go to when Pastor Barry here, we go to his office or even like text him and say, "Hey, Pastor Barry, you got 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes." And when he says yes, then my heart starts racing because now I have time. My heart
Yeah.
starts racing, and then I try to get all the thoughts in my head, and I'm like, okay, he's actually going to listen to me, and I've got
Yeah.
to be able to articulate this. So there's so many leaders out there that you can connect with. I think,
Yeah.
especially in our district,
Yeah.
so many leaders in our district that you can connect with, that will walk alongside of you, that will help you, that will give you sound, godly direction. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Really sound godly direction.
Yes. And there's one thing I really appreciate about Pastor Greg Farrington, and that whenever he meets with me, his focus is not on the ministry. His focus is on me, how I'm personally doing. And just if there's any senior pastors out there watching, I can tell you that has uplifted me so much. And I'm not just saying that to earn brownie points. It's just telling you how it personally made me feel. But I remember that moment when I sit with Pastor Greg and I'm having to talk about something difficult. I start I get like short breath, and he's always very relaxing. He always says, "First, take a deep breath." Like,
because we forget sometimes,
Yeah. It's only because we care, right? It's only because we care.
Right.
But yeah, I love that. Having the hard conversation. Ministry is not supposed to be a joy, like a constant joyride. It's not supposed to be a hayride in a field with flowers. We are going to have tough conversations, whether it's with our pastor or with a family member or with a kid's parents or whatever. So I like that. Encouraged to talk.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all that, Pastor Cathy. And I know, and I already know from some of our streams. So thank you guys for watching. But I know that this is going to be words that people need to hear. So thank you for being, faithful in your ministry, for being a veteran, someone who doesn't quit, because this is an area where I feel like while I'm not, is it called expendable? I'm not irreplaceable. Is that replaceable? Expendable? Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Ben,
there's
what's
also,
the word, Ben?
What's the word, Ben?
I think expendable's right.
Expendable. He says expendable. I go with that. We're not expendable. We are called to be meek, and we are called to empty ourselves, of course. But what a need we have in kids ministry. So thank goodness for people like you, Pastor Cathy. I just want to say thank you. I mean, you are a cornerstone, and I know in our district you are a big help. But the conversation here is not over, because we have a person who has questions for you.
For me?
Yes, the wheel spun last week.
Okay.
And it landed on Tutu. So we're going
The gorilla.
Tutu the gorilla.
Yes, Tutu the gorilla. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do our best here. We're going to switch over to Tutu. So I'm going to translate, because I do speak Tutu. But
okay.
this is
You speak a lot of languages, Sean, I'm telling you.
None of the languages are useful. Like, I don't speak Spanish or Russian or anything like that. I just speak nonsense languages. But yeah, so hey, Tutu, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tutu.
Okay, yes, Tutu, yes, Tutu, that is, you are here, and we recognize that. Yes.
Excited.
Yeah, she's excited. Okay, so Tutu's going to go ahead. Tutu has a question, right, Tutu? Tutu has a question. Okay. Oh.
What is that?
Okay.
Oh, banana.
Okay. Tutu, this is live, just so you guys know. This is live. This is not pre-recorded.
Okay.
She asked, don't you hate it when bananas become bruised?
I do. Do I answer that?
Yes, answer that.
I do. I don't like them when they're bruised. I don't like them at all. It's like, no. I tend to throw them away. Like, seriously. I don't like the way but I don't like bruised bananas.
Oh, she's tearing she just tore the banana up in pieces.
Was that not the right answer, Tutu?
Oh, that she apparently didn't answer how she wanted to answer. She said that
okay.
yeah. Okay, so Tutu wants to know.
I'll send all my bruised bananas her way, okay? How's that?
Perfect. Okay, Tutu, let's go back. Another question for Tutu. Okay, Tutu, ask away. Go ahead, Tutu. Okay, so Tutu wants to know, do you ever enter a room and forget, I think she said, forget what you're going in there to get?
All the time. All the time. I forget what I'm going to forget, or I'm going to forget what I'm going to ask or say all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, she wants to know if you ever get you ever get like itchy behind the ears.
No. Not
right.
often. Every once in a while, not often.
All right. Well, Tutu has another question for you.
Okay.
In the movie Star Wars, there's those little creatures on the island, and she likes to eat them apparently. And so, but do you prefer ketchup or what is that? Say it again, Tutu. Oh, okay. Ketchup or mustard when you eat birds from Star Wars? It's a serious question. When you eat birds from Star Wars, do you prefer to eat them with ketchup or mustard?
Okay, I'm going to have to honestly say I don't eat birds from Star Wars. If I did eat birds from Star Wars...
Oh, she's not happy about that.
If I did, I would probably say mustard.
Tutu, she say mustard. It's too late. She's already wound up, and now she's...
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
She's... Okay, Tutu, just play with your balloon. Just play with your balloon, and you'll be happy. Okay, yes. She says goodbye.
So the next time I go to Galaxy's Edge, I'll make sure I'll bring you back some birds, okay? I'll bring you back some birds. Does that help?
Yeah, Tutu said she's going to bring you more birds to eat when she goes to Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. Okay. Hey, Tutu, do me a favor. Get really close to the camera. Kiana says meekness, so true. Can't get that camera really close to. I'm hoping that someone chimes in right now. Like comes into the show right now, and this is what they see. I just wanted someone to come in, say, the president of the world to come in and to say, and that's what this show. And they said you should watch this show. It's a really spiritually deep show. And then they come into this.
And they see Tutu, yeah.
Well, hey, thank you, Tutu. Pastor Cathy, thank you so much for coming on today. You have, blessed us.
This is fun.
We'll do this again. You've made the list of people I'll have back, and there are people that I will not have back.
That's me.
Well, I'm glad I'm not on that list.
You're not on that list. So, hey, thank you so much, Pastor Cathy. And, hey, I know this is Easter week. It's Super Bowl Sunday for kids pastors. God bless you in your preparation for Easter. I know that we're after this show, we're locked into getting all that stuff ready. But I pray for you guys, and I appreciate your guys' prayers for, and kids pastors, if you're watching this, we as the Assemblies of God, Northern California, Nevada District Office Children's Ministries Board, we pray for you because you need it, we need it, I need it, but Ben especially needs it.
I especially need it.
Especially Ben.
That's true.
Right. All right, we're going to close things out. Oh, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to close things out with a little focus on Tutu and then we'll end the show. Pastor Cathy, thank you so much. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Don't forget to share this. And by the way, go to twitch.tv/Muskamo_Joe. Let's take it away, Tutu. Take us out. What do you have to... Yes.